Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to another Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid unboxing. This is for our Villains Pack number 5, Terror Through Time. So we're gonna get a boss, two bosses, a nemesis, and one monster. So the idea of this is kind of we're getting some powerful villains from various sets, of course. Versus like just one theming set, like I think the first one was just Mighty Morphin, and we had one that was like just Zeo Rangers. This is kind of like to go in line with the Light and Darkness set that came out. We're getting characters from all different series. So we're gonna start with Ransik, who's Ransik, and we also have Franks. Who are both from Time Force, and we just had the Time Force Heroes Pack come out recently, so it's kind of nice we're getting some characters that go with them. And then we're also going to get Swordmaster Decker, who's from Samurai and Super Samurai. We have the Super Mega Evil Vrak, who is from Megaforce. So we don't have any Rangers from Megaforce, but we do have a villain. And then the insectoid villainess, Kirkina, who is from Lost Galaxy, which we only have one 6th Ranger from. And then this is a brief explanation on Nemesis work. If you're not sure, the quick gist of it is they work just like regular monsters. They're just a little bit more powerful. They have a special effect on their deployment card, which generally targets the lead ranger, but it'll tell you who they specifically target. And there's all the awesome people that worked on the game, and companies like Renegade Studios and Hasbro that allow this to happen. So without further ado, let's hop in and look at our baddies. So let's start off with Ransik. I'm not really sure how they want that pronounced. Yeah, he's kind of like an evil pirate. Sorry, I didn't sort my cards out ahead of time like I should have. There's Ransik. Of course, we're going to get their deployment cards, which I'm not going to show off. I think he appears in like a couple other seasons as well, especially being Time Force. He kind of touches on. I think he appears like at some of the other seasons, at least for like an episode. Like he'll pop in and be like, "I'm coming back." But yeah, he's like a evil space pirate guy. I haven't seen all the seasons, so I don't know his exact thing. So we're gonna start off with. He has 2 copies of MUTANT MAYHEM. Dealing a amount of damage to each ranger equal to this card's health value. So it starts off as 5, and if you do damage, you can do less. We have Mutant Strength. When this card is in play, the health value of all adjacent ranged cards is increased by 2. When this card resolves, deal 5 damage. That even makes the other worse. And we have 2 copies of that one. Going to get 1 copy of Blast Burn. Deal 2 damage, increases damage by the amount of card equal to this card's health value. Instead of really playing with that, it's a neat mechanic. Bone Blade. Guard, deal 6 damage. During the next ranger's turn this battle, only the ranger who suffered this damage can play combat cards. If that ranger is defeated, skip the next ranger turn instead. That's kind of a neat mechanic as well. Basically, it's like, I'm going to deal damage if you survive. You know, you're the only one. They might not have anything they can play. So that's definitely cool. And then we have Eye for an Eye. Well, this card's in play. After a ranger attacks a Ransik card, deal 3 damage to each ranger if that card is not defeated. And it can be any card, so you kind of want to take this one out first. Otherwise, he's just going to keep coming back after you. Yeah, that is kind of a pain. Alright, then let's look at his little ally here. We'll have Franks, or Frax, however you want to pronounce it. It's just kind of like a robot. I mean, usually there's always some guys that like, kind of like Finster from the original Power Rangers, who's kind of like, I'm the guy that creates the monsters for the evil guy. And that's what this guy's job is. So we're going to start off with 2 copies of Focused Fire. Deal 4 damage to the ranger with the fewest cards in their deck. 2 copies of Dark Science. Drain 1 energy. 1 ranger must discard the top 2 cards of their deck, so it's going to try and kill your deck. 3 copies of Assault Order. Deal 2 damage to a single ranger twice. If there is at least 4 foot soldiers in this location, deal 2 damage to each ranger twice instead. I like these cards, right? Basically, like, yeah, they're not too bad, but then if they get played later in the game, they're a lot worse. And then finally, he has 1 copy of Minion Master, Garden passive. While this card is in play, Rangers do not place hit tokens on Frax until each foot soldier card adjacent to that card is defeated or resolved. On any of his cards until all the foot soldiers are defeated. So that definitely makes him kind of a pain in the ass to fight. Definitely cool. Alright, who do we want to look at next? Let's look at our other boss. We'll do the bosses first. So here we have, from Lost Galaxy, we have Christina. She's a bug lady. Very common theme I think we get with lots of, especially if I think the females, they're like, let's make them into bug ladies, because girls don't like bugs, but now we'll empower them because their characters are bugs. I don't know. 2 copies of WASP Cutter, fast, deal 4 damage to a single ranger twice. 2 copies of Trickiness Slash, deal 3 damage, repeat this effect once for each tricking a card that has resolved but is not defeated. 2 copies of Bitter Blade, deal 5 damage. If any of tricking cards are defeated or discarded, deal 8 damage instead. She's going to come back at you. And then we have 1 copy of Chicken Armor. This card is in play the first time each tricking a card that is dealt any amount of hits, reduce that amount to 1. Not by 1, but to 1. Being it's fast, it's also going to be one of the first cards you have to deal with. So this one might need to get taken out quick. And then we have 1 copy of Insect Queen. Fast and passive. While this card is in play, after another tricking a card deals any amount of damage to a single ranger, deal half that much damage rounded up to each other ranger. Definitely mean to do. So that's her stuff. Alrighty. Then we also, we had 1 other copy of Ranks' card, Burn Blast. We had 2 copies of it. Just got mixed up. Then we have Decker. So this guy fights Super Samurais. We've only had the 1 Samurai Ranger, which was the Red Ranger, Warren Shiba, in the Shattered Grid series. So maybe this is like a hint that might be one of the next ones coming. You never know. That's an awesome blade there. It's all serrated. Plus his big giant scarab on the back. Definitely a cool looking monster. He has his Nemesis card here. After each Decker card resolves, even if it is defeated, the attached ranger must draw 1 card. So basically, so this attaches to the lead ranger, and then after a card resolves, they have to draw a card. Which you're like, well, isn't drawing cards good? Except for your wife is also your deck. So if you're drawing too many cards every turn, you're just kind of slowly like a life drain. This is actually a really neat character, though. So it has 2 copies of A Worthy Foe. Guard, deal 6 damage. Then Decker's Nemesis must perform an attack with a number of dice equal to the number of cards in their hand. Skip the next Ranger turn this battle. So you're going to take 6 damage, and then you roll nice, and then the thing is, every time this card resolves, it's putting more cards in your hand. So it's giving you an opportunity, the later this takes place, to do a lot more damage back to them. 2 copies of A Proper Duel. Defeat and remove all foot soldier cards in combat sequence. Deal 4 damage to each ranger other than Decker's Nemesis. So again, kind of neat. Gets rid of all the other characters. And just kind of makes it a one-on-one battle. Also neat, because they also are just showing the male Red Ranger, whose name I don't remember. But yeah, it's just kind of neat, because we have the other Red Ranger for Samurai. So it might, again, be a hint that maybe this is coming up. We have 3 copies of Peerless Slash. Deal 2 damage to Decker's Nemesis. Increases damage by 1 for each card in their hand. So again, early on, he's just going to do 2 damage, but if his other card goes too long, you'll keep drawing cards. He'll be able to do a lot more. And then he's got 1 copy of Uramasa, which is a passive. While this card is in play, after a ranger draws a card or draws 1 or more cards, they must discard 1 card from their hand. So now this works 100% against his other card, because then every time they draw a card resolves, they draw a card, and now they have to discard 1. So not gaining any cards, it's going to mess up their strategies. Definitely a fun, different type of nemesis and villain. Then our final character is Vrak, which I still find weird that we have a set where they're like, hey, let's have Frax, and then let's have Vrax. Vrak in the same set, and then ranks. Like, maybe not have 2 guys that have very similar names in the same set. Just saying. Yeah, so he was in Mega Force. This is his final form. He has another one where he looks a little bit simpler, but then he keeps coming back and he gets all these giant things. These guys are all based off animals in that set, I believe. Like, they are like mixed with animal type theming, I believe. I might be wrong. I might be thinking of a different set. So it says, a ranger with the most cards in their hand cannot play combat cards until at least 1 of Rak's cards is defeated in this battle. Yeah, so whoever has the most can't do anything until you at least defeat 1 card. So that's kind of cool. Then we have 3 copies of the Gosai Orb. Deal 4 damage, increases damage by 1 for each other Gosai Orb in play, and by 2 if final form is in play. So if this lines up bad, this could be a very powerful card. Because if you have the other 3 cards into play, it could be 4, it's 5, 6, 7, 8 damage, which is a lot to get. We have 2 copies of Dark Powers Unleashed, deal 4 damage, deal 4 damage. 2 copies of Comet Fist, deal 2 damage to a single ranger 3 times. And final form. While this card is in play, each time a Vrak deals damage, it is dealt to each ranger. Very simple character, like nothing like, no extra surprise mechanics like our other Nemesis, which had dealing with drawing cards and discarding. His is pretty much straightforward, does damage. But there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes that's what you need in a game. Sometimes, hey, we want to introduce a Nemesis to the game. This might be an easier one to introduce, because he doesn't have any sort of extra special gimmicks. It's basically, he's going to deal damage to you, or deal damage to everybody, and you can't play a card until after you defeat him. But yeah, there's no extra special things. Sometimes it's nice to have them kind of simpler guys, because you could mix them in to make the game, you know, a little bit easier for yourself, or maybe like a newer group while introducing the new concept. Alright, so it's kind of a short video, just because villains don't have a lot of excess stuff going on, but that was our Heroes of the Grid Villain Pack 5. Again, we have 2 characters from Time Force, which go with our characters we just had released. But then we also have some Megaforce, so maybe a hint that something might be coming there. We have another Samurai villain, hint that something might be coming there. And then Lost Galaxy, which we've already had. So potential for the 3 other teams. Plus, when you combine that, though, also the fact we just had Light and Darkness, which is the big box set, which added 5 new Rangers and villains, all from different things. That had 4 brand new teams because they had Operation Overdrive, Mystic Force, Dino Charge. We had Jungle Fury, which we've had before, but we added another one. And why am I blanking on what the last one was? I don't remember. My brain just forgot what series they were from. Dino Fury, Mystic Ranger, Operation Overdrive, Wild Force. So yeah, we added 4 more teams there. We added some villains from 3 other different teams here. So definitely fun. Now also gets you excited when you get them Ranger teams or villain teams that go together. But here it gives you a little bit spread out for kind of like, hey, we're still hitting these other teams, so we're not ignoring them. Alright, see you guys in the next video. Bye.